Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unlock the secrets buried in corporate filings. And today it looks like we're dealing with a company that's playing a little shell game with its shares. This filing from Graphjet Technology might seem a bit dry at first glance, but it's actually a fascinating look at how a company can try to reshuffle its stock to set itself up for future moves. We're going to break down what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what it could mean for you. So what's going on here? Graphjet Technology decided to hold a shareholder meeting on August 7th, 2025, and the big news is they got the green light from their shareholders to do something called a share consolidation. Think of it like taking a bunch of small pieces of a pie and making them into fewer, bigger pieces. They're consolidating their ordinary shares, meaning they're reducing the total number of shares out there, but each remaining share will be worth more. This can be done for a few reasons, like making the stock price look more respectable to potential investors or exchanges, or to prepare for things like mergers or exchanges, or to prepare for things like mergers or exchanges, or to prepare for things like mergers or acquisitions, and as Logic prepare for things like mergers or exchanges, or to prepare for things like mergers or exchanges, or to prepare for things like mergers or acquisitions. The company's Class A ordinary shares are the main focus here. Right now, $0.1 per share. That's a very low par value, which is common for companies that first go public and want to keep their share price accessible. They're listed on the Nasdaq, which is a major stock exchange in the US. This share consolidation is partly about meeting the requirements and expectations of exchanges like the Nasdaq, which often have minimum share price rules. Scroll emerging growth company to scroll. Now, it's important to note that Graphjet Technology is flagging itself as an emerging growth company. This means they qualify for certain regulatory leniencies, allowing them to ease into some new accounting standards. It also suggests they are a younger company still finding its feet in the public markets. This meeting on August 7th was where the shareholders voted on a few key proposals. The main event was approving the share consolidation, which they plan to do at a ratio anywhere from 1:50 to 1:150. The exact number will be decided by their board of directors. To make sure this meeting was legitimate, they needed a certain number of shareholders to show up, either in person or by proxy. Over 148 million shares were represented, which was enough to meet the quorum requirement, so the meeting was official. Before we get to the share consolidation itself, there was a proposal to reorganize their entire share capital. This sounds pretty technical, but essentially, they're planning to change how their authorized shares are structured. Currently, they have Class A, Class B ordinary shares, and preference shares. They want to simplify this into just one class of 500 million Class A ordinary shares. This simplifies their capital structure, making it easier to manage and potentially more attractive to investors. Scroll fronted forward is 89,041 scroll. When it came to this share capital reorganization, a huge majority voted in favor. Almost 89 million shares were cast for it, with just about 2.2 million against. This clearly shows strong shareholder support for cleaning up their share structure. This is the big one we touched on earlier. The plan is to consolidate shares at a ratio between 1:50 and 1:50. The board gets to pick the exact ratio. This means if they go with a 1-for-1 consolidation and you owned 1,000 shares, you would end up with just 10 shares, but each of those 10 shares would be worth 100 times more than your original shares. For this proposal, over 75 million shares voted in favor. Again, a healthy majority, though there were a few more votes against and abstentions this time, around 2.5 million against and nearly 7.1 million abstentions. This could indicate some shareholders are a little hesitant or perhaps don't fully understand the implications of such a significant consolidation. Following the share capital reorganization and consolidation, they also needed to approve changes to their official company documents, the Memorandum and Articles of Association. This is like updating the company's rule book to reflect the new share structure. Shareholders overwhelmingly approved this as well, with over 77 million votes for it. Minimal opposition here, with about 8.1 million votes against and a small number of abstentions. Lastly, there was a proposal to allow the meeting to be adjourned if needed. This is a common fallback, giving the company flexibility if they need more time to get votes or if plans change. This proposal also received strong support, with over 77 million votes in favour. And here's a crucial detail: the board has already decided on the exact ratio for the share consolidation. They've chosen a 1:60 ratio. So if you held 600 shares after the consolidation, you'll hold just 10 shares. This is a significant change that will drastically reduce the number of shares outstanding. They also mentioned they'll be filing these updated documents in the Cayman Islands, which is where they are incorporated. Once the consolidation officially takes effect, the company also put out a press release about all these events. You can find that attached as an exhibit. Now, like most filings, this report includes a cautionary statement regarding forward-looking statements. This is basically a disclaimer warning that statements about the future are not guarantees. They list a bunch of potential risks like market changes, needing more money, challenges in developing their products, and staying compliant with NASDAQ listing rules. This isn't unusual, but it's always good to pay attention to the specific risks they highlight. And in the exhibits, we see reference to a press release from August 7, 2024. Hold on, that seems like a typo. Given the filings date of August 7, 2025, it's likely meant to be August 7, 2025, which would make sense with the rest of the filing. This is a common type of error in these documents. Scroll by Axel Chris Lai Scroll. Finally, the report is signed by Chris Lai, the Chief Executive Officer. So what's my take on this? Graphjet Technology is making a pretty significant move by consolidating its shares at a 1:60 ratio. The goal is typically to boost the stock's per share price, making it more appealing to institutional investors and possibly avoiding delisting concerns if the price falls too low. The broad shareholder approval for these proposals, especially the share reorganization and consolidation, signals that management has convinced shareholders this is a necessary step for the company's future. The fact that they've already decided on the 1:60 ratio shows they're moving ahead decisively. However, a 1:60 consolidation is quite aggressive. While it can clean up the share structure, it can sometimes be seen as a sign of a company struggling with a very low stock price. Investors will be watching closely to see if this move is followed by positive business developments and a rising stock price, because without that, the consolidation alone doesn't fix underlying issues. The company's success will largely depend on its ability to commercialize its technology and build a sustainable business. The listed risks, particularly around funding and market competitiveness, are real and need to be monitored. What's your take on Graphjet's aggressive share consolidation plan? Does it signal strength or a company under pressure? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate finance. You can also join our Discord community for more discussions and insights with the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.